Welcome back, Tam Fam. Today, we are ignoring that inner voice telling us to humble, 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 and not brag. Today, you're bragging about yourself and your accomplishments. And it is not always an easy thing to do, especially as we heard all hour long, for women to do. In fact, I asked the Tam Fam who are live right now in the audience, and they answered yes to any of these questions from the best-selling book, 13 Things Mentally Strong Women Don't Do. Here were the questions. I feel uncomfortable when people compliment me. How many times have you said to someone, you look beautiful? Oh, well, this whole thing, or okay. I don't talk about my achievements because I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. Many of you said you do that. I experience a lot of anxiety when I accomplish something great. 15% of our polled audience members answered yes to 2 or more of those things listed. My next guest is here to help us all out, to get out of our heads and be the giants that we are. Amy Morin is a psychotherapist, mental strength expert, that is a title, and best-selling author who first went viral in 2013 after posting an article with a list of 13 things mentally strong people don't do. It was read by over 50 million people, and her TED Talk followed, and it was one of the most watched of all time, 20 million views. In her book, 13 Things Mentally Strong Women Don't Do, she's diving into the things that hold women back from owning our power. Please welcome Amy Morin to the show. Thank you so much. Okay, I mean, this book is so eye-opening and I think revolutionary in many ways, but I believe nothing like this is created if it's not from a source of personal journey. This was, I'm sure, your journey.
It was. I went through a series of losses in my own life. When I was 23, my mom passed away. When I was 26, my first husband passed away. My father-in-law was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And as a therapist, I knew a lot of things from my college textbooks about how to deal with grief, but I learned the most from my own personal journey of how to get through tough times.
How do you just, because we ask ourselves often, am I mentally strong? And I even ask myself that today, and like, how do you answer that? Isn't it a fluid thing? I'm mentally strong some days and other days I'm not. Is that the right answer? Or is there a right answer?
It is. There's days where we're going to feel like we're on top of the world and days where we feel like, oh, I can't go out there and do anything. I can't face anything. It's all about the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. And the truth is, a lot of our thoughts aren't accurate. Your brain will try to talk you out of doing something. Our emotions, sometimes we think we can't feel certain things. We try to suppress it. We think we can't express how we feel. And our behavior, sometimes we talk ourselves out of doing really cool things because we're afraid.
Were you surprised that half of our audience had answered the way they did regarding that list? I'll go to the one that seems so simple. Someone compliments you. You look beautiful today. And then, oh, no. Or we self-deprecate to accept that compliment.
Sadly, I'm not surprised. We know that as women in particular, when somebody gives us a compliment, we're much more likely to do just that. Or we say something like, no, you're amazing, because we're uncomfortable. And it's really because of the way we feel about ourselves. If you give me a compliment, and I don't agree with it, then I have to decide, well, am I wrong or are you wrong? And that's uncomfortable. So to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling, we do things like put ourselves down or immediately offer a compliment back.
What about when it comes to our resumes, whether it's starting a new business, whether it's whatever it is, we, according to the research, don't stand on our experience. We might talk about it over brunch with each other, but when it's time to go in there and say, bam, I did that, this is me, you would be lucky to have me work for your company, we don't do it.
We don't. We're so afraid of looking like we're bragging or that we're excessively talking about ourselves. So we downplay those things and it hurts us. We know that we do it on our resumes, on LinkedIn profiles. We're afraid to really say, no, I did this and I can own that I'm successful.
Why does that still exist, you think? Here we are in 2022. Women, we talk about the resilience of one another. It's not, I don't want to say it's not the 20s, because that doesn't sound great either, because women have been accomplishing things since the day and they allegedly say bit the apple or whatever. But I mean, here we are. But in 2022, I'm still perplexed by how we struggle with this.
And the truth is, we don't tend to give ourselves credit. We think if I am promoted, it's because I had good luck.
Right.
Instead of saying, no, it's because I worked really hard and I earned this. And because of that, we don't believe it. So then we feel uncomfortable telling somebody, look at this amazing thing.
We don't
I
even
just did."
brag on. I mean, I've seen parents who, did everything so the kid could go to the right school, to go to graduate, and then they don't want to say, I did that. Yeah, the kid studied, but I put it in so that kid could go to that university. I see moms do it all the time. They brag on the kid, but they don't brag on themselves for helping the kid get there.
Right. And we seem to value humility, but we think that putting ourselves down is somehow being humble. They're two very different things. You can own your success and still be a humble person.
Yeah. So you're not going anywhere. Amy is sticking around to answer some burning questions from our audience next. This is the book we should be gifting each other today. We'll be right back. We're back with psychotherapist, mental strength expert, and best-selling author Amy Morin, who we have questions from our audience, but the book is 13 Things Mentally Strong Women Don't Do. And I just want to read a few of these things from the chapters here. They don't compare themselves to other people. They don't insist on perfection. They don't see vulnerability as weakness. They don't let self-doubt stop them from reaching their goals. And I love this one. They don't put others down to lift themselves up. I love that. And this book is so powerful. Sherry, you have a question from our audience. What's your question?
Hi, Tamron and Amy. How can I gain more confidence to share personal and work accomplishments?
To share more accomplishments, I think one of the things you need to do is to believe that you are deserving of those accomplishments yourself. So something that you might do, write yourself a list of the accomplishments and the achievements that you have in life. Read that list over to remind yourself, yeah, I'm worthy of these things. And then you'll feel better about being able to share them with other people.
So you feel like that's an excellent... If Amy, right now, for the women who are watching the audience, what is the one thing you think we should do tonight to reset ourselves?
One of my favorite exercises is to just write yourself a kind letter. So often we reach to other people. When you're going through a rough time, maybe you have somebody you turn to give you those words of encouragement. But there's something so powerful about getting those kind words from yourself.
Yeah.
Write yourself a really simple, kind letter that cheers you on. And when you're going through a rough patch or when you are having a bad day, read over that letter and see it in your own words. Something so powerful about that.
What was the last kind thing you said to yourself?
I think before I stepped on this stage, I said I'm gonna own it rather than I'm not gonna
So
get up.
before you came out, you said, I'm gonna own it.
Yes.
I love that. See, the last kind thing I told myself last night, I cooked chicken and I was like, this chicken is good. I made that. I was proud. I mean, those little things, because it mattered to me. I'm learning to cook and I just wanna own that space of being the mom who works and the mom who goes home and provides for my son. And that's an accomplishment that I'm now embarrassed I said. I gotta read this book again. All right, Amy, you have your podcast, Very Well Mind. What does that mean, the title itself?
So Very Well Mind is all about knowing, well, how do you be your best self? And the Very Well Mind podcast, we interview a variety of celebrities, guests who can tell us about how they become mentally strong, their tips, their strategies. And then I do a short segment every Friday where I give a strategy from my therapy office about how do you be the best version of yourself. We talk so much about physical wellness, but we need to talk more about mental wellness too.
Yeah, well, congratulations on everything. The book is phenomenal. Check out Amy's podcast, The Very Well Mind, and pick up a copy of 13 Things Mentally Strong Women Don't Do. Audience, you're all going home with a free copy of Amy's brilliant book. Thank you so much, Amy, for joining us.